Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, August 27th, 2021. And we are here with episode number 122. And we're just simply calling this one Current Views. Want to say shout out to the LDBC, Lions Den Boxing Community, and everyone that's out there tuning in, those who will be catching us on replay, as well as those who are joining live in the chat at this very moment. It's good to be here. The end of another week, work week for some, like myself, and we're here. We're going to enjoy a little bit of boxing talk. If any of you were out last night to catch the Three Wise Men of Boxing show that we had last night, it was one heck of a show. And if you guys weren't there to catch it, we talked about elevator fights in boxing. And that's when you see those guys go down to the canvas and get back up and put the other guy on the canvas and get back up and keep throwing down until it's over. Yes, sir. It was a great show. I want to say that everybody that came out and checked us out last night, thank you for stopping in and showing the love and support. And we really had a great time, Scrapbook Boxing and myself, and we saluted our brother Kurt, who's still under the weather, but he's here with us in spirit as we do so this evening. Want to say special shout out to Kurt Sugar and that he get well soon. We miss our brother here being on the airways with us. For those of you that are out there, please smash the like button. I see we have more people out there watching than has smashed the like button, and that's not good because usually it's the other way around. You know what I'm saying? So here you go, people coming in here, starting that mess all over again, peeping through the blinds and through the bushes and everything, man. Come on out, stop being so, stingy with your thumbs up. You here already, you might as well hit that like button where you here. We're going to take a moment out, acknowledge some people who are here who were bold enough to show themselves out there in the chat. We got my man Big Homie Coop out there. He says, backsmack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. Yes, sir. Reese Bro is out there saying salute with the bullhorn. Stormy B Man, the wrenches and chat, hit that like. Yes, sir. My man Trick Noty is out there, says good evening, Stormy. Good evening to you, Trick Noty. Mark Booker, the brother out there, he says, what up, my shy brother? Salute, champ. Salute to you. And Sylvestrial is out there. He says, Stormy, salute. What's good? Hey, man, it's good to be here on a Friday, man. Chopping it up with you guys. Another chop session. You know what I'm saying? That's what's good. Curtis Price, my man, is out there, says, Stormy B Man, don't change the theme for nothing in this world. Okay. Yeah, man. That beat and Ali shadow boxing for me, man, when I paired them, I was like, you know what? This is it right here. I like it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the way it'll be, Curtis Price. That's the way it will be. He says, right on, 1,000. Amen. Yes, sir. PGH Big Dog is out there, says, salute Stormy B. And the chat, salute to you. And Alvin Davis has joined us and says, salute. Thrill Hill is out there, says, salute Stormy B. Slide Encounter is out there saluting Stormy. And we got PGH Big Dog saluting Trick Noty. Yes, sir, man. This was a little bit of a slow week for the sport of boxing. So, to come out here and talk about things, I said current views would be the title for tonight. I hope to be joined by my partner, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, when he gets himself home and settled. But, current views, a little bit about what's going on in the sport. Certain things Stormy just won't touch on simply because that's not my cup of tea. But then there'll be other things that we'll discuss here and kind of get a feel, bounce off the wall with you guys and get your take on some things. But right now, just enjoying being here with you guys. TS Boxing is out there. My man Tyrone, he says, salute, Stormy, salute to you. Good to see you out there, bro. We got a brother out there that just decided to become a member. I think that said JC. It flashed across the screen kind of fast. So, yeah, JC, welcome to the Stormybman family, man. We appreciate you becoming a member of the channel, and we will hope to have some great things for you as we go forward. I want to open up by saying and announcing to you all who are here this evening to hear this live. Just a few days ago, Stormybman officially went over 2,000 subs. So we are on the move. We are growing and growing and growing. And I'm going to tell you, you better get your ticket because you don't want to miss this train. And we ain't going to stop for nobody. So you got to get aboard while you can. It's going to be like a freight. You hear what I'm saying? Choo choo. Like Deontay said when he was lifting those weights. It's going to run you over if you don't get on. But yeah, a few days ago, we officially went over 2,000 subs for the channel. And I want to give you guys a big round of applause for helping me reach that particular goal. As we won't be stopping there, we're going to keep it moving. But at the same time, acknowledgement is necessary because I could not have done that without you, my listening and viewing audience. So thank you so much for your support for the channel, and we hope to continue to grow and provide you with the type of content that you want to hear. So thanks again, everyone that's out there and everyone that's a part of this process. I'm going to take a moment also to remind you guys that are out there, we do have a link in the description box for the merchandise for the Stormybman brand. Okay, Streamlabs merchandise store. We have an assortment of goodies over there. I noticed that this week a couple of purchases were made, so I'm very happy for that and want to say salute to those who reached out and decided to join that part of what's happening on Stormy's channel. We got things out there like these coffee mugs, man, with the Stormybman emblem on there. They're very nice. We also have the baseball caps that come in an assortment of colors. These caps are very nice, man. They're the snap kind. So if your head is kind of big or if your dome is small or shaped funny, okay, it's an adjustable band on there and we can make it right for you, okay? So walk around with the Stormybman label. That's right, you can do that. Get your nice baseball cap out there. We also have, for those of you who are on the go, we have backpacks, man. Backpacks so you can carry your goods with you. If you're going to the gym, you can put a few things in there like your jump rope, your mouthpiece, your bag gloves, your hand wraps, and your cold bottle of water with some ice in it, Gatorade. You know what I mean? You guys go to the gym, you can use this, you sling it on over your shoulder and head on to the gym and get that work in. That's right. They come in a couple of different colors here, these backpacks, and they're very nice. Made by the brand Champion, okay? Very nice, solid brand there. We also have the Stormybman windbreakers. These are the packable jackets. They're like rain jackets, but they're very lightweight. That's why I call them windbreakers. And it has that zipper that runs across the center, which means when you take it off, you can actually roll it up and fold it inside that compartment there and carry it like it's an umbrella. Okay, so, and it has a hood on it. These are very nice. They come in 3 different colors. They're very nice, and you can pick you up one today if you so choose. Okay, and don't forget, just as I'm sporting right now, the Stormybman hoodie. Okay, I've added some additional colors to these. So these are very nice. And the colors that have been added make it pop even more. So for those who don't just like that black look, you got 3 other choices out there and a couple of bright ones to go in. And they are very nice. And also paired up with those are, of course, the Stormybman tee, which will come in the same exact colors as the hoodie. And you'll find that these are very nice. The material is nice. I've had some very positive feedback about this. We have sizes that can complement the mightiest or the most minimalist. So get you a couple of them today. You know what I'm saying? Stormybman likes to wear them. And people say, oh, what is that? Who is that? Then they give me a chance to say free advertising. You know, go to YouTube and click on this and you'll find out what it is. That's right. And I want to say salute to 503 Lion out there. He says salute to the OG. Salute to you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. And I hope you hit that like button when you stop by. I didn't see the number change, so maybe you didn't. What's up with that, huh? Every time I stop by his 503 channel, I hit that like button when I first walk in the door. I see Stormybman, the sensei, still got to meet out some lessons here. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, those are the items from the Stormybman Streamlabs merchandise mart. So again, you can go down, click on that link, and get you something that's in there. You'll see that they'll have something for you. No delay. So yeah, man, we're going to talk about some things this evening. I've been listening to some of the brothers who've put up videos and had, you know, I like to call them editorials. And sometimes, you know, just updates and whatnot. And I was interested in something that the brother Drew Titan had shared earlier this evening. He had a video where he talked about Prince Charles Martin, and how he's calling for Dillian White, huh? And that's, you know, that's a good thing right there. When we start getting somebody hot on the heels of that dude, because he seems to only exist to be an irritating gnat whizzing around Deontay Wilder, right? And he don't really want to fight Wilder. He's just a buffer to create a distraction and everything, while they over there on that side of the pond at match room, mess room, rematch room, all of that, they try to figure out how they gonna keep AJ away from Deontay once he becomes heavyweight champion again. So this guy is on the job out there talking mess. But Prince Charles Martin came out and said, you know what? I want Dillian White. He wants to fight in the U.S. He wants to make a splash over here. Come splash in the tub with me. And I love that, man. And Drew was right on when he said it, man. This is the type of thing that we have to do to counter the bull crap that comes out from over there. Because we could see straight through what's happening. Deontay Wilder beats Fury in their third match, the rubber match, and they will find all types of excuses to not face him. Now remember, they were trying like the Dickens during the arbitration hearings to make a deal, even though they were going through a yet-to-be-decided arbitration. Fury's camp and AJ's camp were negotiating. How foolish, huh? As if they could really get something done without the hearing coming to finalization. So, listen, man, if this guy will not step up to the plate to fight Wilder, if Wilder turns out victorious in the rubber match, you know that they are hiding him. They are trying to keep him away from the champ because those belts, not AJ, is what they're trying to hold on to broker in the heavyweight division. That's why they'll be trying to stick someone in there like if the likes of Usyk happens to win, they'll go for Joe Joyce and some other people. They'll even probably go tap the shoulder of Danny Dubois again, because what they want is to try to keep control of the heavyweight division with those belts. Okay? He'll have 4. The 5th one is the WBC, and that's how they operate, man. But I'm going to tell you something. The fans are going to have to stick up and say, hey, you're the baddest man on the planet, right? You got all these belts, right? You say you got it out the mud, right? Which you really did, but it was because someone had dropped them in the mud, not because you lifted them off of a body in the mud. But all the same. So, you got to fight the real champ. Huh? And I don't know what that is with them trying to make that deal with Fury, because Fury can't even box in the UK. And everyone knows how Mr. Hearn and Messroom like to have their bouts over there in his backyard or his plantation. Huh? Yeah. But back to the Lycan, huh? Which is what we call Dillian White. Salute to Tab Investments out there. I see you, brother. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, listen. This guy needs to be cleaned up. He needs to be cleaned up. It's time to get him on up out of there, man. We've had enough of his foolishness, and he's been out here talking, and it's just time. White really has done nothing to earn a heavyweight title shot. He hasn't fought anyone in the top 5. He's not even in the top 5. But it's like he's hanging around, just acting as a buffer to whatever's going down where Deontay Wilder has business. So in steps my man, Prince Charles Martin, who says, hey, I'll take you on, and I'm down for that, 1,000%. Because what we're seeing is just a game of charades here. They have absolutely no intention of getting in the ring with Wilder. And when I say they, I'm talking about the AJ camp. The guy is about as vulnerable as you could be in the heavyweight division, and they don't feel confident in him, which is why he's not facing fighters on a more regular basis. If you look at how inactive he is for as young as he is, it's a shame. It's ridiculous. And there are bodies out there that he could be facing. But he's so chinny, they are afraid to put him in with someone, because one tap on the jaw and someone has hit the lottery. You see what I'm saying? Yes, he's a big guy. Yes, he's strong. But he's not internally strong. He's not psychologically strong. He presents the prototype image of what you would like to see when you pick for a heavyweight. You look at in the movies when they have those guys standing in the ring with muscles and everything, and a handsome actor, playing the role. But that's all it is. It's acting. It's Hollywood. Well, AJ, this is real world. And Hearn ain't going to be able to protect you forever. You understand? You either going to have to pee or get off the pot, brother. And listen, when you got Prince Charles Martin a few years ago, he too was where you currently are. And that's why you were able to defeat him. He wasn't as experienced as he has come to be now. He didn't have the type of skill set that would require that he become not only a champion, but be able to be a champion who can defend his title. And we already saw AJ lose his title to a last-minute substitute, didn't we? Huh? And he lost on the biggest stage at MSG against a guy who was FAT. Huh? Think about it. So they don't want to do that anymore. And when they said that they were pulling out of America, DAZN and everything, now AJ, he's with Matchroom. Matchroom has a relationship with DAZN. But you think about it like this. They are preparing themselves. They are placing all of their ducks in a row because Tyson Fury loses to Deontay Wilder. They want to already be miles and miles and miles out to sea sailing back to the UK. They don't fool us, though, because we've been watching these guys. We've been tracking them, okay? And one thing we could say about this whole ordeal is it's not AJ's fault. It's those people who are managing and who are trying to be controlling. Because AJ is just the commodity. He'll fight who, what, when, where, and why, and how when they tell him to. But they're not going to do that if Wilder is the opposition. They don't want to lose the grip that they have on the heavyweight division. The best way to maintain that, get yourselves a fighter who can win it and retain it. But AJ is not that man. He is not. I've seen this guy in interviews. I've heard him talk and everything. And I'm telling you, he sounds like a guy that just wants to speak well, but doesn't really believe in what he's saying. This is one of the reasons why I posted on my community page today this quick little soundbite where an interviewer was asking Deontay Wilder, you know, when he fights AJ, you know, what will happen? And Wilder's answer was spot on, dead serious, and very short, as would a fight with AJ be. Salute to my brother, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens out there in the chat. I see you, bro. But this is the thing. A man has to stand up for himself. There comes a time. And the walls are closing in on AJ. There are fighters who he's going to have to step up and face regardless. Anything outside of looking, if he's successful against Usyk, which I have my reservations, whether or not he will be successful against Alexander Usyk. It's going to come down to him trying to basically show that he belongs. And when I say belongs, I'm talking about belongs at the top of the division. Because a lot of people are not confident in him at all. They're not. And I said that he was going to mess around and allow all these other talented young fighters to catch up to him and have some sort of success where they would become legitimate challengers. Once he starts talking about, I have, you know, mandatories to face and whatnot, then you'll know that this is exactly what we're talking about here. He has no intention of facing Wilder. And I do believe at his core, we talk about from time to time when fighters don't face each other in the ring, we talk about someone being afraid. We talk about the apprehension and everything. But when it comes down to Anthony Joshua, I actually believe he's afraid of Deontay Wilder. Do you know he once made a remark regarding Wilder and speaking from a position of awe? He was like, why is he so confident? Where did he get all this confidence from? Why is he so confident? That right there was a very revealing moment about Anthony Joshua and his mental state. Just as when he asked a reporter, do you think I can win, about Andy Ruiz Jr. when he was going into his rematch with Andy Ruiz. This young man, he's a big old wall of a guy, but He's got paper mache inside, I'm telling you. And it's only a matter of time now. It's only a matter of time. This is going to be exposed. Wilder may not get the chance. He may slip on the banana peel way before he gets to Wilder. We've seen this happen before. It happened to him already. Who in the world thought going in that Andy Ruiz Jr. would be the man to sidetrack the AJ Express, huh? Who thought that that would be the case? I'm sure many of you didn't think that. I sure in the world didn't think it. I'm like, man, this guy, he should be able to take care. I thought that they had cherry-picked Ruiz and it was going to be an easy night for him. You know, I thought he was going to go out there and, you know, make lightweight of Andy Ruiz and it become an easy peasy kind of deal. Psh. When he dropped Andy and Andy got up and started fighting back, I was like, uh-oh, here we go. And just as I said, here we go, there went AJ down several times over. And then it was over for him. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the way it happens, man. That's the way it happens. We got my man Jay Gibson. He says, salute to Stormybman and the family. And he's got the bombs and the crown. Yes, sir, man. Glad to see you out there, Jay Gibson. But how much more of this do we have to take, man? The avoiding, huh? The going the other way and everything. They were so hell-bent on making a deal with Tyson Fury, knowing that the man had an arbitration case going on. So hell-bent. They just wanted to make this deal. And then he had the nerve to come out and be upset because Wilder won the arbitration. We talk about fair play in boxing, man. He had a contractual obligation that Fury was trying to avoid. And AJ was trying to make a deal to break it all up. That's a strong character person, isn't it? I mean, that's impeccable character, huh? You got a divided house, but your neighbor trying to move in the back door. I keep telling you guys, he don't have what it takes as a person. If anything, he should have been stepping back saying, you know what? I want to become undisputed, but I want these two men to settle their differences. And when that dust does settle, I want the winner. That would have been the best thing that he could have said. But did he say that? No. You know why? Because there was always a possibility of Deontay being the winner. And he did not want his words to catch him in the butt like it did before. Remember, he initially called out Wilder when he was still fighting on Showtime. And Wilder was sitting there in the studio watching the fight, asking the audience, he said, AJ, who do y'all want me to fight next? And the people were saying Wilder's name. And he was like, Wilder, okay, yeah, bring him on and all of this, right? Wilder said, listen, I was going to let the little pup develop, but he was saying, now, don't wait, make the date. Right there on live TV. From that moment on, AJ went from being a young prospect heavyweight champion, titleist, to a track star. Huh? A track star. Salute to my man, Divine Sense Reborn. He says, big shout out to Stormy, hell bent on making Joshua and Fury. They can't stand Wilder. As a matter of fact, they fear Wilder. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Listen, man, they could talk all they want, but they've seen Wilder destroyed people. Remember, he beat up on guys like Audley Harrison, and they saw that firsthand. They heard the rumors about sparring with Klitschko and everything. And see, Klitschko wanted to keep those young guys in his camp so he could gauge who to be with, who to stay away from, and all of this. But Wilder was always a dangerous young prospect because he was still developing and still developing. And when it came time for Klitschko trying to go after that elusive, undisputed title with Bermane Stiverne having the WBC title, he tried to even offer Wilder step-aside money, which Wilder said, no, after I beat Bermane, I'll fight you for undisputed, but I'm not stepping aside. So for when people want to talk about Wilder wanting to step aside for Fury and AJ, how quickly people forget and develop amnesia, huh? Because it's never really been about money with Deontay Wilder. It's about being the best. He's told you that countless times. And people just don't want to believe it. You know why? Because they don't want to believe him. They don't want to cave in to the image, the actuality of a young man who, being from where he's from, okay, and coming from the circumstances that he come from in an unorthodox manner of having success, passing up everybody else who has been schooled from a minorly age to becoming the champion of the world. See, if that was one of them doing that, they'd be made 3 or 4 movies and a mini-series about it already and have a song written and everything, huh? Wilder's story is the stuff of movies and books. I'll say it again. Wilder's story is the stuff of movies and books. But like he said, it's all about that complexion. Huh? They tired of that. They don't want to promote that. And when someone is of a soft nature and has a heart of clay, like AJ, which means he could be shifted and molded and shaped into whatever direction that they want, they'd rather have that as a representation because it can be manipulated. Wilder is his own man. There's a lot to be said to respect someone who's their own man, who's willing to go to work and dig deep to earn their keep. Salute to Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. I see you out there, brother. Good to see you. They don't want to promote this anymore. We're living in a soft society now where everyone has to have some sense of flexibility to be able to be bent and manipulated, pushed, huh? Not someone who bucks the system and rages against the machine, and someone who stands their ground, even though they try to make a law of stand your ground, and then they try to tell you who is within their rights within that law. It ain't for you, though. It's for them. Because when you stand your ground, usually you make things happen. But when they stand their ground, they try to eliminate you. And the courts and judicial systems help with that. Oh, yeah. Salute to Bruce Goes. I see you out there, brother. Smash that like button, people, as you come in. DP Rocker, I see you. So, yeah. This is what they're trying to do. And to a certain degree, I get it. But you're talking about a system that was designed with not with you in mind. So how do we get rid of you? How do we get you out of there?
Goodness gracious, if we let him get his hand on the title, we'll never see the damn title again.
Yeah.
Nothing short of a 357 will get him out of there.
Yeah. That's their thought process. That's why you could be holding a bag of candy and a soft drink and they bust you down. Huh? Because even if you were going with your bare hands against their bare hands, it'd be unfair. But I digress. AJ is what they want you to see. And he gets on there and he talks a good game and he says all the right things and everything. And he even has a tattoo of Africa on his shoulder. How about that, huh? Africa, the motherland. Huh? But when you have misrepresentation, it should be the mother F land, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Especially when somebody want to put it on their body and they ain't living up to it. Do you know that there are tribes in Africa that will take your head off at the slightest suggestion of disrespect? There are people over there that don't respect people in America because they feel like Americans of color don't fight enough for the justices that they are denied. I'm not going to go into a political speak on this, but I'm just saying Ed Hearn has made certain that he'll do all he can to keep his charge, which is Joshua, safe with those belts. That's what he's going to try to do. That's his chief definite aim. Curtis Price says they want every man to be sweet and soft. Yeah, every one of us. Every one of us. And some kowtow willingly and will go behind your back when you are rearing against the system and machine and say, he ain't complying, boss. Yeah. Some of them may look just like you. Some of them may be related to you. Blood for blood. Yeah. They're out there. That's why you need to deal with them first. Remember what I said a moment ago. All AJ had to do was step back and say, hey, these two men have unfinished business. It behooves me to step aside and allow them that respect of taking care of said unfinished business, and I'll take on the winner. But pride and foolishness couldn't allow him that. He hoped for some type of interceding. But due process is due process, brother. That ain't how it works. You see what I'm saying? That's why he shouldn't be respected. Not because you think he's going to avoid and things of that nature, because he wasn't upstanding from the beginning. And when you know that a man is not upstanding, where else is there for him to be besides on his knees or on his back? And with him, on his knees seems to be a place of comfort. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Salute to my brother Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, who has joined us. What's going on, Reggie? How you doing this evening?
Doing real good, man. Doing real good. Glad to have this week over with.
Yes, sir, man. It's been a long week for me as well. I'm just glad to be here. And I don't know if you caught me from the opening of the show, but I announced that a few days ago, Stormybman channel went over 2,000 subs. So we made another milestone.
Congrats, LG.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And you played a tremendous role in that, helping me with these collaborations and whatnot. And I just want to say thank you for what you've done, assisting me with this show and some other shows that we collaborated, and also the post-fight shows, man. So it appears that the people are more and more buying into what we're doing, and I have to give respect and honor to where that all comes from. So I couldn't do it all without you. So thank you again.
Oh, for sure, OG.
So right now I was currently grilling AJ, but the conversation was kind of touched upon because Dillian White has been challenged by Prince Charles Martin. And Drew Titan did a stream, he did a video earlier this afternoon that suggested if Dillian White can be the guard dog Lycan for Eddie Hearn, trying to be the buffer between AJ and a potential Wilder future arrangement, why can't Prince Charles Martin do the same, but not in a negative sense, but providing a stiff challenge for Dillian White? If you want to fight someone from the U.S., fight someone like Prince Charles Martin. He's ready. He's called White out. He said, let's get to it. And, you know, there's nothing to do it but to sign contracts. He even made a remark about White being on his way over here and decided to turn the plane around and go back home. So, hey, man, I'm all down for that. The brothers that's over here that's heavyweights, stand up. And it's not like protecting Wilder, but it's like stand up for your right. It's like you deserve a chance to make a name for yourself by beating one of them up too. So like, let's see it. Let's get it on. What are your thoughts, Reg?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Charles Martin was doing, but I know he had called Dillian White out like some time ago, disrespected him and all that. And what Dillian White responds to, like a straight up coward. Dillian White tried to laugh it off, play it like it's a joke, never accepted the challenge from this guy. And Charles Martin was being very disrespectful towards him. So it shows what his role and duties really are out here. And he ought to be calling for that fight, because what does Eddie Hearn have lined up for him? Eddie Hearn has been getting him piss poor fights that have done nothing for him, fighting guys that are way out of their prime, being knocked out by one of them. It's done nothing for Dillian White. But for him to make calls of one to step in, interfere with Deontay Wilder's pursuit of Anthony Joshua, who is a guy you really should be pursuing, Dillian White is nobody. And he's just someone that stepped in here to add as an obstacle towards what should be happening in the sport. And it's some suckified stuff. And the other side of things, like you over in that promotion, why you ain't even getting the opportunity to fight in AJ? I see something truly wrong with that situation. But Dillian White, being the sucker he is, he doesn't see it. And I think Eddie Hearn may be paying him on the side just to keep this guy satisfied, even with the inactivity and things like that. But none of this stuff makes sense. He should be in here taking on the challenge of Charles Martin. It ain't like he's a step or anything above Charles Martin, because Dillian White is not even recognized within the top 8 fighters that are in the heavyweight division. He's almost a forgotten entity within the sport of boxing, because he's not challenging himself. And just because you call out a name doesn't mean anything. Nobody sees you up there. And I think he has more to prove. But it's just the sucker side of the sport, man. It's the sucker side. And a lot of times when I see suckers, I don't follow them. I don't follow suckers. I don't pay attention to them. Until if they get in there, they show something, then yeah, I'll peep them. But outside of that, my religion is anti-sucker, and I don't follow suckers at all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before I go any further, I want to say salute to Mahari Nation Sports Podcast out there in the super chat. Thank you, Abel, for your donation. He says, congrats on reaching 2K. Keep pushing, OG. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I know that we have been right there back and forth, neck and neck with each other with how our numbers have been growing. And I would say to anyone that's out there within the sound of my voice, if you guys like great basketball talk, Abel does it on his channel with his covering of basketball. So if you haven't had a chance to go and check him out, please do so. And subscribe to the brother for great basketball talk. That's what he does over there, and he does it very well. So salute to Abel. Thank you. Reggie, it's something that, you know, some of the American fighters who have, you know, low-key been hating on Wilder, they have to step up, the American fighters, because it's not about Wilder. It's about everybody, you know, that's over here. Because as I was saying here before you came on, the UK is going to do everything they can to keep the power of those belts in their hands, even if they're paying the sanctioning bodies under the table or whatever. They're going to do all the tricks that they can. This is why, like I said, if the American fighters start standing up, you got guys like Big Baby Miller. Look at what they've done to him. And you've got people like Dillian White, and look at how he's been handled. And guys who have popped dirty, and you could see where there's like unfair play. The field is not leveled here. So when you have the guys like, you know, I don't like to mention because he's an older fighter in the game now, but you got like a Chris Arreola and the Kalnakis and the Charles Martins and the Washingtons and all of that. If these guys opened their mouths and spoke up, it would seem like a united front. Because even though you got Dillian White over there doing what he's doing, because the UK is a much smaller place, everybody speaks of AJ over there as if he's done nothing wrong and that he's, you know, he's a great champion and he's a step to it guy and all of that. Man, it couldn't be further from the truth. That dude is a fraidy cat. I remember when BFTB was calling him Pup Pup. You know, they call them pup, them little puppies that be real afraid and they shake and they shiver. That's what he was calling AJ, because that's exactly what he was reflecting. And you know what? It's time to start talking about it. If guys who have been quiet all this time because they've been hating on Wilder secretly start speaking up saying, man, yeah, these UK guys, Parker, even though he's not a UK guy, but he turncoat. The Wilder camp had made an offer to him for a unification bout, a nice lucrative one. He took less and went over there with AJ and gave AJ his belt, auctioned it off. What a chump. What a chump. But you have other fighters that are coming up, the Jared Andersons and the Effie Ajabas and these guys. And though Ajaba is not necessarily from here, Anderson is, and he's already whipped Tyson Fury's butt in the gym. So that lets the world be put on notice that, hey, he's ready for the top level right now. So if you guys want to give Fury that respect, right? I'm not giving him that respect. But if people want to do that, well, he got his butt whooped by a sparring partner who happens to be an amazing young talent and prospect. So let's put our young talent and prospect in there with AJ, huh? Let's see what AJ can do with him. And yes, I think Anderson is better than Dubois. But I still think Dubois can whoop AJ. So it's like, hey, pick your poison, AJ. Stop hiding behind Eddie Hearn. Huh? Get your butt in the ring and fight somebody. Get on TV and be talking all of this stuff, trying to sound like a philosopher. He sounds like a damn fool. And I've been around the gyms. I ain't never heard a fighter spew such BS. He's not a learned man. He's a rehearsed man. He says what they tell him to say. And they have the nerve to think that that comes off as intelligent or to make him sound like he's smart. He's revealed more about himself without fighting in the ring, which he should be doing, than he has for fighting in the ring. And guess what? They're both equally bad. JJ is out there. He says, it's not a lot of heavyweight competition. Absolutely. So if there's not, why isn't AJ more active, cleaning up the rest of the division? Because he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable. And Hearn can't make the kind of deals to keep the championships in-house like Don was able to do. It used to be like when you wanted to fight for a heavyweight title, you had to sign up with Don. And it didn't necessarily guarantee you a title shot, but it would give you more favor because Don had all the heavyweights in his stable under his promotion. Pretty much all of them. I would say his ratio to guys that were under his stable and promotion as heavyweight was probably about 85% in his favor. And the other 15% was like guys with main events at the time, Top Rank, and independents. You got something to say on it, Reggie?
Nah, that's all. I didn't have nothing else, man. These dudes are suckers, man. I move around with what I follow in the sport, man. I don't get hung up on none of these cats, especially the ones who aren't doing what they're supposed to. I just focus on other folks that are in the sport. There are too many guys out here, and like I said, none of them are my favorite fighters. I like some guys more than others, but there's a lot of talent to look for in the sport. There's a lot of guys who want to fight guys. And there's a lot of other entertainment in the sport. And that's why you get Jake Paul and Logan Pauls who have an avenue to create for themselves because of what these guys have done for the sport. They move into this era where, the legacy of past fighters have gone. You got the Manny Pacquiao, who's kind of the end of an era. he's still bigger than a lot of these dudes, and these dudes have done their own. They have done their own to kind of reckon the sport. And once there comes another star who bypasses these cats, salute to whoever that person may be. But I just don't follow these type of cats, man. The AJ, I like when AJ was first here. I liked the AJ. Matter of fact, the funny thing, AJ's career was built in America. He was a Showtime showcase fighter. And up into that Klitschko fight, put on a great thing. Once they achieved that, they thought they made it. And they thought they completed it. And they have lost themselves. And even with them thinking that, they screw themselves. Ultimately, they have screwed themselves. And everyone else who put money into the pot of thinking they were going to do something has lost out. They've been robbed by these cats. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been robbed. And it's a shame, too, man. It's like, you know, I had said, I think AJ was 24 going on 25 when he scored the title from Martin. And I think he's 31 now. But what has he really accomplished besides losing to Andy Ruiz? And the only reason Hearn took that fight to Saudi is I do believe that it was designed for Ruiz to lose that fight. It was like you saw how woefully out of shape he came in the rematch and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if Hearn had people, you know, around Ruiz, you know, taking him out, treating him, doing him well, and, you know, let him, because he bought into that. The guy was suddenly thrust with success and celebrity that he had never known and whatnot, and he overindulged. And that they took him out to sea and they drowned him. They drowned him in his own celebrity. And they look at it now like it didn't happen. But oh yeah, it happened. We got the tapes, huh? That's why I say for those who thought he did so well in that rematch, he was in there against a guy that wasn't going to win. But there are some young hopefuls out here who can test his mettle. It doesn't even have to be Wilder, okay? But let's see him in with somebody. Pulev, what a joke. You know, that guy was ridiculously inadequate and inactive and disinterested. He was begging to be knocked out 2 or 3 rounds before he was actually stopped in that fight. But anyway, I digress. We'll go on to, let's talk about Earl Spence Jr. for a moment, Reggie. This information that has come out about him and the amount of time he may need to recover, and whether or not he may be fighting, you know, this year, or should he wait for next year or whatever. I think it's really up to how his body heals and everything. But this could be the precursor to some other things. And I hope not. But he's in his prime years right now, and you're on the other side of 30. Like, I think he's going on 31 if he's not 31 yet. But when he gets 32, that's when things start changing. And he wanted to vacate the welterweight division by a certain time. I'm sure he had a timetable in his head. This sets things back because if making and cutting weight is important or a problem, gonna have to start looking at that. What are your thoughts? I like the fact that he's inspired to come back as soon as he can, but being realistic about a lot of things, it's like, man, you know, when Ray Leonard discovered that he had this issue with himself, he wasn't quite 30 yet, I believe. I think he was like 28. But it's interesting, Reg. And a lot of people have had this in their careers and stuff like that. But I'm not hoping for that for him at all. I'm just speaking like age becoming a factor in him going forward. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, age is always an issue, man, and it's just one of those things where that lifestyle choices and everything. If the lifestyle had been better, that accident would never occur, and we'd probably never be dealing with these type of issues with him. And who knows the severity of that eye issue? And good thing they caught it. Like I think he was saying the other day, he's glad they caught it. If he would have went into that fight, there have been huge doubts as far as how far his career goes, as there are still doubts with how far he can go in this fight, whether he sustained an injury to that eye. I mean, that it's a factor, man. It's definitely a factor. Now you got these other things that can announce themselves, especially when you have certain things you've been through, certain impacts on your body and stuff. A lot of times, being younger, they don't show up, but they show up later. And the pain that they that's been stored when they do come out, it debilitates you. It holds you back. It's a lot of stuff we done as young folks that you get older, the knees ache, that lower back aches, the neck aches, shoulders, arms, all that stuff comes out. There's gonna be something that's lasting that comes from that accident. Don't give a dang how folks feel. It's just the reality of it. Regardless of if you're a super fan of Earls or whatnot, the reality of shit is just the reality. The injuries could come out, especially as you start reaching those points in life. That aging is a mug, man. Aging is a mug. The eye thing, who knows? With the advancement and technology, they can go in there and repair it, but that's not to say that eye comes out stronger and that it can't be injured again. I mean, like they stated, man, some people still think there's some effects that he's suffering from that accident. And also there are going to be effects because he's going to be out the ring for an extended period of time. And like, who was that stated? I heard multiple fighters speak of this, of being out of the ring, the way that the body reacts to coming back and being hit with punches. The body doesn't respond well, especially as you're getting older. Even if you're active and getting older, the body's still not responding well to punches. So he's going to factor in that long layoff, the way he goes about taking punches from fighters. And it's kind of the thing with all these fighters, so they sit out so dang long. But who knows? Once he gets back in, it's the only way to tell. And who knows if he moves forward, what they come out when he does another examination. And luckily he came in here. They do thorough inspections out here in Las Vegas, that they caught it. That eye injury probably was something that was there in that last fight. He just happened to fight Danny, who really didn't change into a different gear, because Danny was too affected by Earl's jab. But these other fighters going forward are probably going to be difficult fighters for Earl. Earl is easy to hit, so he's going to face some tough opposition in these coming fights. But who knows, man? Who knows? None of these dudes is God, and that's the other thing with athletes. They have to take advantage of those short windows that they have, because injuries hamper everything with great careers, man.
Yeah, and there's something I want to point out, and you kind of alluded to it, but we can actually open this up a little more and talk about it in more detail. Have you ever known someone, or even yourself, you may have had a really nice car, right? You had a nice car. You like to keep it clean, you vacuum it and polish it and have it seats all armor-alled and everything. And then it gets hit, right? The car gets hit. Now, it breaks your heart that your car, because brothers love their cars. Okay, we're just going to say it like that. But it breaks your heart. But you put it in the shop and you get it fixed. But even if it comes out, they do a hell of a job with the body work and everything. But that car been hit. It's not the same, is it? It's not the same. And what I'm driving at here is, before the accident, Earl was one of the best welterweights in the world with a very promising upside. And we do now understand that he had some vices that allowed him to end up in that situation. And please understand, I'm not trying to be condemning in what I'm saying here. But because of what he went through, we don't know yet. Even though he may appear to have come through almost nearly unscathed, even with doctors. You know, doctors don't know everything. They don't see all. You know, they don't see all. But you don't come out of that without being changed. And I ain't talking about your attitude, because that's trauma. That could have been, Reggie, the equivalent of him having 50 fights. And we've seen fighters. We just saw last weekend, Manny Pacquiao had 70 plus fights, right? He looked like Manny, right? He looked like Manny, kind of moved like Manny. He's a little older, of course, but that body, it breaks down. What was one of his things he was saying? He had cramps in his legs and everything. I never heard him complain about cramps in his legs. Hell, a few years ago when he was fighting Floyd Mayweather, and Mayweather was a few years older than he was complaining about a shoulder back then. And that was with 60-something fights, you know. So the body wasn't made to be hit, impacted. It's something to think about. And because he's an athlete and he's been in very tip-top shape, sometimes being that way can mask a lot of things that the common guy who doesn't go to the gym every day, who doesn't run miles every day, who eats regular and whatnot, they could be impacted a total different way. But the thing is it's tough. It's tough. So in his time that he has to recover in this instance, he may want to start mapping out a blueprint of where his priorities in the sport are. You know, like prior to this particular injury, the plan was to face Manny, possibly go after Bud Crawford after this, or maybe even Ugas if, you know, I don't know. But he may want to just start looking at the big fights that he has at welterweight, and if he's successful there, move on up to junior middle and fight big fights there, not waste the time. You know, when you're in high-profile fights, high-caliber quality fights, that's one way to keep your edge. You could stay, you know, focused mentally and everything. You stay in the gym a little longer, but sparring less because you're fighting more frequently, things of that nature. But it's time to optimize. He's been given a great gift. And if he's able to recover from this particular injury, that's yet even another gift. So you have to make these decisions. And it's tough, but at the same time, you have to do it with, you know, I know money isn't everything, but he'll probably make more money fighting Bud than he'll fight anybody else in the division. And then if he moved up and he fought his buddy, Charlo, he'd make more money fighting him than he'd make fighting anyone else in that division. So it's some things to be sorted out there. And understand this, you'll be coming out of that prime that I talk about, 32 years old. When Ali faced Foreman, he was 32 years old. Foreman was 24 years old. And one of the things he said in the press conference after one of his training sessions, he said, I'm running every day. I'm doing all these exercises and sit-ups and everything. And he said, and I look at my belly and it's the same size. He was like, the one thing I can't do is get rid of this belly. Now, he made weight. He came in, I think he was 214 for Foreman, it dates back to when he fought in the 60s where he was 212, 210, like that, just 2 pounds or so off his best weights. So, yeah, but it's the shape and the solidity of the stomach. It wasn't hard like rippled abs like you see Earl in this picture, right? It's like at 32, Ali's body wasn't like that anymore because you start to change, So those are the kind of things he's going to be looking at because he's fighting at a weight where you cut weight. Heavyweights don't have to cut weight, but if you're fighting at welterweight, you got to make that weight. If you're fighting at junior, you got to make that weight. If you're going to go up, like Vinny Pazienza did, after his accident, he put on a lot of muscle and everything, and he went all the way up to, I think, 168, which was a far cry from that lightweight division that he was at many years earlier before his car accident. So I'm just saying these things to impress upon our listeners, and we're just having a discussion about the reality and the mortality of man. So, but I hope the best for him. But this should also be a lesson to all the other fighters out there in all the other divisions, man. It's like, stop putting off the fights that you can make that can garner you the best for your legacy and for your checkbook. Stop all the foolishness. Because even, taking perceived easy fights, which is what Dillian White asked Hearn for. Give me a soft touch. Man, when you get in that ring and somebody's trying to take your head off, there's no such thing as a soft touch. Now, the end result may have been like, wow, that didn't seem so hard, or I seemed to breeze through that one or whatever. But when that bell rings, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. A guy could get lucky and hit you. Remember the Gary Antonio Russell fight recently he just had? He threw a punch that missed, and his head hit Hernandez's face, and they headbutt fight over. Shattered the man's nose. 30 seconds into the fight. You just don't know how these things are going to end. So you might as well be optimizing what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for your future. And if this be your best fight, wouldn't you rather have gotten the maximum or the optimum out of that than just be in there against a guy that you on paper supposed to beat, and he happened to hit you with something and you get a brain bleed, and now you fighting for your life in the hospital? Huh? I mean, you got something on that, Reg?
No, that's all I had. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so I just, wanted to say that. And like I said, I know there's a lot of people out there that really love this brother Earl Spence, and I am not trying to rain on his parade at all. But I'm speaking about the reality. If this was someone else, it could be Deontay Wilder, it could be Bud Crawford, it could be whoever, I would still be making the same state of claim toward the significance of optimizing your career while you're at it. Because there's only a small window here. We have had fighters who fought for years, decades even, but that don't mean that's the best for them. There's a tremendous number of debilitated fighters out there, guys who need help tying their shoes. Huh? That's all I'm going to say on that. Reggie, we had a break in the news this week where I'm trying to get through my videos here. We had a break in the news where it was discussed that the WBA was looking to get rid of all those additional belts that they had under their their organization. I guess the additional belts, eliminator belts, and all of that, that they shouldn't have existed anyway. But in order to kind of take some type of action, particularly since the Micah Fox fight with Gabriel Mastre, and I don't know, they're trying to throw the heat off of themselves or whatever, but it's too late for that because the heat is on, and I don't think we should let up. But what were your thoughts when you heard about this step that they were taking?
It's that pressure on them. They got a lot of pressure on them, the spotlight on them, people realizing a lot of this, the belt stuff that's going on is a bunch of sham stuff, a bunch of corrupted greed going on in the sport. And it doesn't make any sense to have all these different tiers of belts and everybody becoming a champion. And even going into this, like where you were speaking about AJ earlier and about him being young but being a champion. And when you were speaking of that, what I was saying to myself as I was listening and driving is that creates a situation where a lot of underdeveloped guys are pursuing belts. Same thing with Rolly, all these guys who are just underdeveloped, chasing at the belts because there's so many of them that are out here and they're not ready for anything. And they need to get rid of that. The belt should be only for the guys who are truly putting in the effort, truly putting in the work, not just inside the ring, but they're putting in the work inside of those gyms, and they're learning and developing, and they're watching the sport. The other side of like the development thing with the sport is a lot of these guys aren't going to achieve it because when you talk to them, they talk about what they don't watch, who they don't follow, and that's an issue. But the fact that they have all these belts, that all these underdeveloped guys chasing at the championship belts, they're allowed to get it because the WBA understands what these guys want. We find a way of getting these, over anxious fighters that are out here who aren't conscious enough of what guys like the WBA who, may be able to outthink these dudes by going into their pockets by, here, you're a champion, now pay for it. And that's what's going on, is that a lot of these fighters are being manipulated by these guys in these sanctioning departments. And it's been pointed out with that corruption that went down in that Michael Fox event. And they're putting the pressure on these dudes. Other fighters have spoken about it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes of those who have the power to enact sanctions against a sanctioning body to start doing right by the sport, right by the fighters, and also for those who pay money towards this thing. Get rid of these dang belts. Stop trying to line your pockets. And I'm glad that it's happening, but we all know what's the reason behind it. They ain't doing it because they have some high moral compass or whatnot. They've been exposed, and that greed from these cats is definitely exposed. But the belts need to be gone because you got to keep these younger, underdeveloped fighters away from chasing these belts. You have to keep them away because otherwise they get hurt because some of them are in too quick a pursuit to obtain things that they're not ready for. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think the belts also, they hurt contention. They hurt contention because by giving guys an easy avenue to become a titleist without going through the learning process, the challenging process, the process of further developing, It stunts the growth of the sport. It's like also when you look at in the NBA when they're taking these kids out of high school, okay? And dude, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, my vision was very short, meaning like my view on life, everything. At least when you go to college, you get a chance to travel away from home in most instances. And if you're playing sports, you get to travel to other areas, gyms, out of the state, stuff like that. It gives you a greater vision of the world. And imagine now you're going from high school to now being pretty much a millionaire. You haven't learned anything yet. You probably even learn how to balance a checkbook or anything. You're not old enough to go to a club or to drink or anything. And so, but you got this money and can't nobody tell you nothing. So the whole process of development and growth has been stunted. You see, and you could become a spoiled individual, particularly if you were raised a certain kind of way and you feel rebellious toward how you were raised, because not everybody that was raised properly turned out proper. You understand? So that's why I said that, and I put that in there for instance, because when you have money, you could buy what you want. You could buy cooperation. You can buy people who will cater to you. And you could buy your way sometimes out of situations and problems. Not all the time, but I'm just saying. So the whole process of how to solve and resolve problems as a young adult, that becomes tainted. It becomes stunted. And it's like, so in boxing, that's a great analogy of you throw all these belts out there and you got guys that don't even have to work hard for something because a guy who couldn't make weight anymore or just lost it on the scales, he drops that belt and you could walk right in and pick it up facing a guy who's 12-6, whose record is really more like, the other way. We've seen over in the UK, these guys have these double-digit numbers on their record for losses. And you pick up a title against that guy. That don't make you a champion. It makes you a titleist, and I've said this before. It makes you a titleist, but you're not necessarily a champion. And you could go out like a guy like Rolly, right? And continue to fight guys that on paper, your management team and everybody, they say, well, we have 5 guys we could pick from. Who is the one who's going to be the least of a challenge? Okay, this guy. Okay, well, let's set some fights up for him. But that's going to be the next guy we fight. You see what I'm saying? This is how it goes down. And you go out there and you think, oh, well, Rolly really beat that dude up and everything. You don't realize that guy in his last couple of fights, the promoter put him in against people so he could look decent. But he was cannon fodder for Rolly the entire time because Rolly ain't much. You see? But this is the game. So all these belts and everything. And didn't Rolly have a belt too? Reg?
Yeah, I was trying to come off mute. Yeah, I think he still has it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like, how the hell that dude get a belt? Fighting like that. I'm serious. It's like, it proves my point. And then when you hear him speak, when they put a microphone in front of his face, oh my God. So, that's what I have to say about that. So, yeah, and shout out to Michael Fox and his camp for telling the WBA to go screw themselves as far as that, setting up a rematch, man. You don't need no rematch for what he did. He won the first time. Now overturn that decision. Don't even make it a no contest. Make it a loss for that guy because he lost. And let Michael go on with his career. And don't look back at you. I mean, those are my thoughts, Reggie.
Yeah, my last thing, when you were bringing up about like basketball athletes, high school, and athletes that go through college. I'm about to say the NCAA is almost like a sanctioning body, to be honest, when it comes to collegiate athletes. I mean, they don't develop these dudes. They're almost like a WBA, a WBC. They're only using those kids for the money they bring in. They don't develop them at all. They don't teach them economics, finances, and a lot of these kids are being put into academic programs that don't develop them. They just go in, take certain courses. The teacher that's going to pass you, keep your grade point average at this and that, and the kid may never go to school. And so a lot of these programs don't develop these kids. I see a lot of the college programs is nothing more than what we see with the boxing sanctioning bodies. They just there to manipulate them. And that's why there's a huge argument going on now where I think the courts even passed it to where now these athletes can start to earn financially based on their likeness, because it's all about exploitation. It's not really to develop these guys. And it's sad that that's what happens with the athletes. But that's why I think it's important for the athlete to be developed intellectually before even reaching that point. They should take advantage of the education they're getting. And that's on their parents, though. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah. It's something to, keep the eye on, because there are some similarities there. And I do believe that the more that we talk about that and the more we can draw those similarities and then actually come up with solutions to what can be done about it, because I don't think enough people pay attention to that aspect of it, But it's something, something to keep an earmark for as far as discussion in the future. You and I, we kind of come up with these things and we talk about them and we be like, yeah, we should feature this, and have a greater in-depth discussion. But I wanted to also talk about Jaron Ennis real quick, Reggie. Ennis is touted for I think a November return, and they're talking about Thomas Delorme for him in his return in November, which would be very interesting. We saw Delorme in there recently. Ennis is a different sort of fighter. We'll present him with some technical problems. I mean, his footwork, his ability to switch, his size, strength, and power, I think will all be factors that Delorme may not be up for. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah, I did hear about it. I think it's going to be a good step for him.
Yeah. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let me know what your thoughts are and everything, and what were you thinking when you heard about this?
Yeah, I think this is a good move for Ennis, and he's getting back in that ring. When is that fight? That fight is for like October or something, right?
I thought it was November. Forgive me. Let me double check real quick. I have another screen here that I can open up. Unless somebody in the chat already knows the date. I know we got some fans of the brother out there, so they may be able to get to it before I can. Sometimes my laptop is a little slow opening up.
But yeah, I think it's a good step for him. And Delorme comes a fight. I think Delorme last fight was against Stanionis, if I'm correct. But he comes to fight.
Yeah, Stanionis was his last fight. trying to see if I can pull this up. I had it pulled up the other day when I was reading the article. And of course, I left my page open, but there have been some new news since that day. So let me see if I can backtrack a little bit, because it would be nice to give the people the correct information as far as when the fight is, so people can know when to expect it. Yeah. Come on. Okay, yeah, boxing scene. According to Boxing Scene, and this is where I had got the article, and this was from yesterday. It says that they're saying that the date of Enes Delorme depends on several factors, which should be sorted out within the next 2 weeks, but the fight itself is set. And it's either going to be in late October or early November. That's what they're saying, contingent upon whatever those things are that they have to iron out. So we got a fight, and it's supposed to be scheduled for 12 rounds, and it'll be broadcast on Showtime. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good test for him. And the fact that he's getting back in there, getting active. I think this should be his third fight. I think he fought Barry Hearden this year when they had Buddy Kerr, got in there against, what's that cat he beat the brakes off of? And then now he's going in here and gets Delorme. Delorme is a tough outing. Get to see how, masterful his performance looks against Delorme, or if this is going to be a tough fight. Because I think a lot of people are looking for a tough fight for Jaron to really gauge him and see where he's at. Delorme is one of these guys that will not try, but he would definitely challenge you in a fight, and just see how much Enes can separate himself, not so much just by winning, but how much he can separate himself, because he is starting to be noticed a lot within this division, and he's a guy who's becoming a danger and can possibly take over. And I mean, look at you guys. I mean, these dudes just can't take it for granted when their time comes, because people can ignore you. You play in the shadows, you put in the work, you think you aren't being recognized, and then voila, something major falls upon you that others chased after, and you were the one that was granted it. So he has to just continue to press on, and he will become that dude within this division as people see that he's possibly going to be that guy. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think that Delorme is savvy enough to survive some rounds, but I do believe that Enes will eventually catch up to him, because he's gifted in an area that a lot of fighters, you don't see it, certain things about him every day. And with Enes, it's his speed. His foot speed and hand speed kind of go together. And he could switch, what side he's on, orthodox, southpaw, and things of that nature. And lastly, he's got pop on those punches. So it's like, remember when he caught up to Lipinets, it was a shot that Lipinets didn't see, that uppercut in there and everything, and it really took him down. You know what I'm saying? And that left, Lipinets more than anything. He was starting to be, beaten up, but he didn't want to get totally embarrassed. And so he just, he rode it out and was like, that's it, I'm done. But there will be nights when Enes can get in there with somebody who can test him in a different type of way. But I don't think that Delorme is the guy to give him anything more than some rounds, unless there's a cut that opens up and stuff like that. But Delorme, after watching him against Stanionis, he tells me that he will try to survive. He'll try to survive, But if the power, pressure, strength, or something is too much, I think he'll cave in. So, those are my thoughts on that at this early hour. And like I said, it's either late October, early November, according to some details that have to be worked out with the fight, and that should be done, they say, within the next couple of weeks. So there you go with that.
Yes, sir. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's always great to see the young guys get back in there, man. I mean, I've forgotten how much I like watching Showbox, because you just see the young guys coming up doing their thing before they get real famous. Excuse me, and show their wares and whatnot. Like this kid, Brandon Lee, Reggie, eventually people are going to have to start talking about him. If they could talk about Elvis and the other guy, Berlanga, and all of those guys, and that other Puerto Rican sensation who's only like 18 years old or something. What's that kid's name, Reggie?
Rabisi, the one from the Olympics.
Yeah, what's his name?
I think something like Rabisi or something like that.
Yeah.
The one who beat Short.
Yeah, those guys. If they're gonna talk about those guys, you gotta talk about Brandon too, because he's a young dude in there just knocking folks out, man. He's as strong as an ox, So, and he's been on Showbox a couple of times, so we'll see. But these are the type, of matches that we're talking that, seeing these young hopefuls getting out there doing their thing. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Also, Reggie, there was some talk recently this week about Devin Haney and the fact that he may be taking on Jojo Diaz. Listen, Jojo Diaz has turned into a sucker, man. Because remember, when he was talking about facing Devin Haney after his last fight, then he kind of backpedaled on that. And then it was supposed to be there in negotiations to talk. Excuse me. Talk about fighting. And then now Oscar comes out today and releases a statement that says they're not in talks to fight or whatever. So what is really going on here, man? There are so many circles that are making beelines around Devin Haney. It's like, you know what? I just want to take my shoe off and throw it. These guys, you got to fight this kid, man. I mean, when Mike Tyson was blowing through the heavyweight division in the late 80s, and people were afraid to get in there with him and stuff like that, they still got in there, but they fought fearful, right? Devin Haney ain't doing nothing near as what Mike Tyson was doing, but these guys don't even want to get in the ring with this guy, man. I mean, yes, he's a nice young talent, but he's not a devastating puncher. He's not Sweet Pea Whitaker. It's like he's a young prospect fighter, whatever, like a lot of others. But what in the world is going on that have they done something behind the scenes? Mr. Bill Haney, he's blackballed his son. I don't know, with their mouth or with how they represent. I don't know. What are your thoughts when it comes to this, Reggie? Because everybody is avoiding this kid.
I think they put too much stock in these other guys, chasing after him like they're somebody. I think Devin should just chart his own path. And pretty soon people want to follow him. And pretty soon people call these other fighters are avoiding him to fight him. These dudes don't stop the show. They don't stop the show. I think they're putting too much emphasis on wanting to chase after those who don't seek anything. Even if Devin got to start beating up lesser known, lesser skilled fighters, that's what he should do. And pretty soon it's going to be when people crying he ain't fighting nobody. Well, then get your favorite fighter to step up over here and challenge the guy. I think they should go in and do their own thing. Let Devin go in there and look spectacular. Do the same thing that built Mike Tyson up. Mike Tyson looked spectacular fighting guys who people didn't know about, but people love the result, and that's what Devin should go after. Until these other cowards get some courage to step in there and fight him. He just has to trot his own path. But I don't think they should be chasing after a bunch of these cowardly people in the sport. Make their own lane.
Now that I agree with 1,000%, Reggie, that he should just get busy, even if he has to go on a world tour, go over there in Australia, fight somebody, go over there in the UK, fight somebody, go to Japan, where boxing is really picking up over there in Japan again. I mean, just go fight, man. It's like, stop waiting around for these dudes that ain't trying to get in there because they are glamour girls, basically, at the end of the day. And it's like, enough is enough, huh? We want to see some competitive matches and everything, but we don't want to see these men who are showing no nuts or guts at all. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. It's totally ridiculous. I can't remember the last time I seen two fighters ducked like these young men. And the two fighters I'm talking about is Gary Russell Jr., Mr. Gary Russell Jr., and Devin Haney, man. It's just utterly ridiculous. I want to take a quick moment and acknowledge a couple of brothers in that chat. We got Watcher out there. Salute to Watcher. Dre Finest joined up with us, and who else did I see out there? We also had Big Texas. ATX Cletus Smith is out there. Salute to you, brother. And World Combat Sports is out there as well. Champion Heart. And I think I caught everybody there. Salute to all you guys who just came in there, and thank you for coming in. And please smash that like button as we just talking about current events in the sport and whatnot. But yeah, Reggie, if Devin, you remember when he turned pro, he went over there in Mexico. You know what I mean? He don't have to live in Mexico, but at the same time, he could start going trekking around the globe to get some fights. Now, I know that's difficult because of what we're dealing with globally and everything, but he can't rest on his laurels. He can't sit around, and he can't make them he can't allow them to try to push him out of the weight class and stuff, which is like he has a timetable that he wanted to move up, and it looks like it's some people in the sport that's trying to wait that out as well. So, no, man, just go on out there and get a little active. Start fighting some fights, man. Bill, if you as trill as they say you are, take your son on some journeys, man, and let him get some world experience along with more ring experience, and get on out there and start getting active and fighting. Because this young man has been sitting on the shelf waiting, and this is not the climate for quality fighters. Quality fighters have to be active. They have to keep their edge of competitiveness. They have to keep their timing, keep their shape when they're making weights. So it's like, you got to do this, man. And maybe it'll toughen him up too, where he gets angry and he gets a chip on his shoulder, and he goes out there and starts really brutalizing guys, making them pay for what he's been put through. So that's one of the things I wanted to add to that as well. Final thoughts on this, Reggie?
Devin, Bill, stop chasing these cats. Forget them. Who is Ryan Garcia? Nobody. He's a figment of the imagination that people think is a star. Nobody cares about Ryan. JoJo Diaz, where the hell he come off trying to dictate something? That's because people chasing after seeing fools with shiny objects around leather. These belts they hold don't mean nothing. They should, if they and it's funny because they moving back. To me, they moving backwards. You chasing after these dudes who don't hold anything, who aren't proven as anything, who truly don't have fans that are true fans. You make your own path. When you become the man, the highlight of the sport, You got to put this, and this is my thing. Fighters got to put in that you guys work. Fighters got to put in that you guys work. Stop chasing at these. You beat Ryan Garcia, what does it do? Nothing. Trying to chase at them. You beat JoJo, what does it do? Nothing. You're going to still be on that same path. So blaze your own path. When they get the courage to fight you, then they'll get there. Then they need to blaze their path too. But otherwise, they don't do anything. They don't stop the show for Devin. And Devin them need to be mindful of that and stop that. And too many people get caught up in seeing these other folks who aren't, non-black or whatnot and thinking that's the only way to prove themselves. You don't got to prove yourself through these cats. Do your own thing, make your own show, and continue to move forward. People like the performances of Devin Haney. Hell, you ought to be happy with what the heck you did in that Linares fight. Linares is going to do more for you than what these other cats do, regardless of people who complain. It ain't about who hate. That's part of life. Focus more on those who support you and show you love. I think too much of negativity becomes too powerful. And I make that as a strong statement. Too many people focus on who doesn't love them, who speaks nay. They say this about me. Hell, that's part of life. Let it be. Focus on those who show love and support you. The other shit is just chatter. It's just chit chat. That don't mean nothing. Holds no value. But that's all I got.
Yeah, you made some great points there. It's like, but Trill Bill, take your son on the road, bro. Take your son on the road. It's just like in the 50s when you had guys like Quincy Jones and all those talented artists who were trying to figure things out. And even though they couldn't walk into a studio and play their music and produce what they had to offer, they had to travel. They had to do things by adaptation. So again, we already talked about this being Black Murderers Row 2021, and you can see it. It's clear as day. But while we got these last few minutes of the show, Reggie, I wanted to go ahead and talk about this fight that's coming up Sunday evening, the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. This is something that a lot of talk has been. It's a Showtime pay-per-view, I think. And I don't know a lot about these two guys, but on the undercard, you've got some fighters that we are familiar with. And I know one is the return of Danny Dubois. So as a heavyweight, if you're interested in the heavyweights, he's making a return, and he'll be fighting on this undercard. Plus a couple of other fights that may be interesting to the crowd and to the followers of the sport. I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers. They've been successful doing what they're doing, but boxing has become its own worst enemy with how things have worked out. So I just wanted to ask you, Reg, what were your thoughts on this card Sunday?
Man, I'm hoping that Tyron Woodley don't go out here and let this kid knock him out. That's what I'm hoping. I hope Tyron Woodley goes in here, being he is a fighter, that he steps out into this event and he smashes the hell out of what's his name, Jake Paul. He don't go in here and embarrass himself, embarrass the industry that he comes from, being that MMA stuff. That he goes in here and he displays boxing in his MMA career. He's been known for his hands. He's been known for his power. He's a fighter with multiple fights. He has the experience, even though it's in a different side of the sport, but still it's fighting. And I don't get mixed up in people when they talk about, it's different. It's a different sport and they can't adapt, You going in here against a guy with novice experience. This dude, Woodley, is a fighter. He trains in fighting. He trains the box. He should know what he's doing in there. But then again, Logan has kind of, feeling at home in these big events. Woodley sometimes in big events, even in his MMA career, has fallen asleep. It's like he absent. He's in the ring physically, but mentally he's absent from the fight. So hopefully he doesn't have that moment, because he's going to get knocked out if he does, because this kid is looking to embarrass as many people they put in the ring with him. Tyron Woodley has to come in and show out. Just try to take this guy's head off, and it'd be huge for Tyron Woodley, and it'd be huge for that entertainment side of boxing to see Jake Paul lose, because Jake Paul has it to where he benefits is that there's a sector of people who want to see him lose and lose not so much from a decision. Him losing the decision doesn't do anything to hurt him, but him losing in such a devastating fashion, that could affect him. But then again, it's about, does this kid quiet down from that? These are the type of kids with personalities who say, next guy up. And we see where we go. And I think a lot of fighters should adapt with what these guys are doing. I don't hate these dudes. I like what they're doing. These fighters don't know what the hell they're doing. Even listening fully at that last press conference and him speaking down about what the guy's doing is like, it shows where the hell combat sports artists get this ish wrong. It's about bringing something to the fans. Yeah, you don't like that this guy is coming in the sport but this guy is doing it from another side. He's self-promoting himself. It's something that fighters can learn from. You don't need promoters. You can bypass a lot of these dudes when you build certain level of stardom, fanhood. You can do things on your own, and that's what they have to learn moving forward.
Yeah, and then also on the undercard, you know, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be some familiar names and faces. I know that we'll get to see the return of Ivan Baranchyk, you know, off of his big old fight with Zepeda. That was the elevator fight of 2020, where those guys were down 8 times between the two of them. Ridiculously high drama and action there. And he's taking on a guy from Cleveland. So all the brothers out here in the community, Cleveland in the house, he's taking on Montana Love, who's unbeaten. And that's going to be a 10-round super lightweight fight. So Baranchyk is taking on another prospect that's undefeated. So we'll see what happens with that. And then you got Tyson Fury's younger brother, Tommy Fury, is, you know, taking on somebody in a 6-rounder. I think it's Anthony Taylor. And then also I mentioned Danny Dubois is back, and he's fighting Giuseppe Angelo Casumano, and that's a 10-round fight of heavyweights. So there's going to be some action on the undercards of this. Reggie, are you calling this? Are you going to have it?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, so everybody that's out here that's listening up this evening, you can tune in to Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens for the live call, and then we can come back here and do a post fight, I guess, for the evening, for the fight. So, but I didn't know. I didn't want to assume, because I know it's, you know, you have to check with you first. So, yeah, but it appears that this is what it's going to be. A card with several different weight classes taking place. The fight between Paul and Woodley, that's a cruiserweight. It's supposed to be a cruiserweight fight. So you kind of got guys all over the place. You got heavyweights, you got lightweights, you got cruiserweights, and then you've got what's his name? Tyson Fury's brother. So in the 6-rounder. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll tune in to Reggie's call and find out, you know, what's what there. But yeah, man, this is what it is, Reggie, and this is what it's come to, that we have to see the main eventers, like, you know, Paul in this instance, you know, taking up the seats where these other fighters that don't want to get in the ring. This could have easily been a world-class fight card with main eventers that were professional fighters that we know of. These guys just don't want to fight each other and step up to the table. Then you're going to see stuff like this happen more and more. And you're going to see people leaving the sport of boxing and taking their interests elsewhere. And it's a sad thing, but it's an honest thing. It's exactly what's going to happen. So be it. You know what I mean? You got anything else on that, Reg?
No, that's all I have on that.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and give us some final thoughts, and we'll get ready to close things out.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you guys for coming through for another Friday Chop Session, man. Another good topic, good conversation, man. We'll see you guys on Sunday. I like that they're having this event on Sunday. I wish more events are held on Sunday, Friday, Thursday, Tuesdays. Give us these fights. Networks, promoters, give us these fights. There's so many fighters out there who can use these dates, not just Saturday. But that's all I got. We'll see you guys next Friday.
Yeah, because when you have someone that's gonna step up and get in there, kind of, take the play. It's like, you know what? Nobody wanna show up and show out. I'll do it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it is what it is, man. People need to recognize what's happening in the sport. But yeah, we're gonna get ready to get on out of here. But before we do, I just thought that I would share something one more time. It was so funny to me the last time, so I just thought I'd share it one more time for you guys' entertainment. So hold tight and I'll share something with you.
The word homeowner who confronted two robbers.
I walked in on them, and they downed me. They jumped on me in the hallway.
But Tom Greer says he managed to get his .22 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. He says when that unarmed couple saw his gun, they took off out the back door, and he followed.
The lady didn't run fast as a man, so I shot her in the back twice. She's dead, and it's all her off, but he got away. She says, "Don't shoot me, I'm pregnant with a baby," and I shot her anyway.
That old man. He said, "I shot her anyway." Listen, man, y'all better leave these old people alone, because they ain't playing out here. You think the streets is hot. The streets really gonna be hot messing with them old people, bro. Leave them alone, I say. But yeah, Reggie, another great evening of boxing talk, man. Thanks for stopping through and shedding your light on there on the subjects. We get through it so quickly, man. It's like I was just hoping that we could have at least some good talk. And I saved those cards in the talk about Haney and Ennis and the card for Sunday night. I saved that to discuss when you came on. At least we could have that, the talking points for that. So that was done by design.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we're gonna get on up out of here, and it's been another great evening of boxing talk. It goes by so fast, man, but I want to say salute to everybody out there. We had someone that became a member this evening. Again, the channel is growing. We're celebrating the 2K in subs, and we just want to continue to bring you guys quality content and do the best we can for you out here. So from my man Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens, This is Stormybman. We're going to check on out for now, but we'll catch you guys Sunday evening after the fights for the post-fight show. Peace to everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Remain safe. Peace.
Peace.